What's happening, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for my overview of the haul of July of 2022 in graphic novel format. So these are all the books that I ended up getting in the month of July. So let's get this started. And welcome back, everybody, to my monthly haul. This time we are looking at July of 2022. Got an Omnibus, a couple of hardcovers, some things that you've probably already seen on the channel that I've done overviews of. Some of these things were sent to me by some of you wonderful viewers. But let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be looking at this Nightwing book, Fear State. And before going any further, though, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. And one more thing, I want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons for making videos like this possible. Alright, so let's jump right in with Nightwing. So here we have Nightwing, Fear State, otherwise known as Volume 2 of Nightwing by Tom Taylor. And immediately jumping into a crossover event, if you will, or rather just an event. This is where we have a villain hacking into Oracle's database and network, and well, you can only imagine what could happen when somebody hacks into Oracle's private accounts. And it is still Nightwing with his new creative team. This series has been kicking all kinds of ass. It's been a lot of fun. I would love to see this in deluxe edition. And who is this lady right here wearing this particular outfit? Who is Oracle if we have a new Batgirl because of New 52? What exactly is going on? Well, one way to find out, or maybe I'll do an overview of all this stuff eventually. But yes, this has been a lot of fun. It's definitely a breath of fresh air following the events of what happened, not just in Rebirth, but also New 52. I've been enjoying this run, and from the sound of it, what I gather from my viewers online, there's only a couple of people that haven't been enjoying this run, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I think most of my viewers have been enjoying this particular title. Whether they're reading it monthly, whether they're reading them in this particular format. Now, this is in hardcover, so it is a standard size hardcover, and it will be available in trade paperback, I assume, sometime next year. This is the way that DC has been putting out these books. In the back, we have some variant covers here from different artists. By the way, there were a couple of awesome surprises inside of the book. Characters I hadn't seen around in a while. Bruno Redondo is just kicking all sorts of ass on this title. Here's some designs for this Batgirl that we spoke of, and ads for other Nightwing titles, such as the Rebirth run, the Batgirl Rebirth, Batman Rebirth, and Titans Rebirth. It's interesting because this book, the dust jacket, doesn't have a gloss finish to it. It's just this flat finish to it, so that's why it doesn't shine, unlike, well, actually, parts of, I don't know if you can tell, but the Icon logo and Icon himself has a gloss to it, whereas this, nothing really is glossy. So I showed this just a second ago. This is the Milestone Returns universe. Icon and Rocket Season 1. Now she gets a title up there. It used to be just Icon. And here's what the back of the book looks like. This is also a standard size hardcover. Reggie Hudlin returns to the world of comics. Reginald Hudlin was at one time president of BET. He wrote classics, at least classics to me, like House Party. I freaking love House Party. But he also is no stranger to comic books. He wrote a phenomenal run on Black Panther. Was actually reminded of how great his run was when I was talking about the character of Shuri and how she ended up becoming Black Panther. We do have Dennis Cohen also returning. He is doing some pencils, some of the layouts here. And this is Season 1. It is a hardcover. And it's the return of the character of Icon. If you've not read it, do yourself a favor and get the Milestone Compendium. It's worth it. I've not read this particular run. I don't know if this is the same character. I mean, in the same universe, rather. Or if it's something like what Dwayne McDuffie was trying to do in the pages of Justice League. Was bring in the characters from the Milestone universe to the DC universe. So I'm not really sure what the new Milestone universe is. Oh, Doug Braithwaite is doing some of the artwork in here. Good to see him back. But I believe this is the very first of the Season 1 books coming out from DC Comics. There's going to be a couple of others, but this is the very first one in this new Milestone world. And again, this is standard size, and it collects the Milestone Returns issue 0. Love that cover. With the Icon and Rocket Season 1 issues 1 through 6. The paper quality of this and Nightwing are this flat matte paper on them. Another standard size hardcover that you may have seen my overview of. This is Superman 78. Oh, this was so wonderful to read. But if you've not seen that overview, don't even worry about watching the overview of it. Go and pick up the book. It's a continuation of Superman 1 and 2. And all of this is brought to us by Robert Venditti and Wilfredo Torres. But as you can see here from the very first issue, it is bringing Brainiac into the world of Superman, the Richard Donner world of the Superman films. And this is another one that is in standard size hardcover. From Dynamite, this is Sky Captain and the Art of Tomorrow. Kevin Conran's art of Sky Captain. Sky Captain was a very interesting movie. It had, what's his name? Jude Law, I believe. But this is pretty much the early sketches and the designs for the movie and all the people working behind the movie in the studio and the Citizens of Tomorrow. I believe it also had Angelina Jolie in this too. But I love stuff like this. It's an art book. This is the character of Angelina Jolie, if I'm not mistaken. And then all the different characters you're going to see throughout here. It's just beautiful behind the scenes, looking at the settings and looking at the character designs, looking at the early sketches, looking at some of the storyboards. And, you know, Sky Captain, I don't think very many people went out and saw. Don't know if I would consider it really a hidden gem. I mean, it was okay. But I've always wanted to check out the artwork when I heard how much love went into making this film behind the scenes with the character designs. So that's what this is. This is a big, oversized hardcover, too. And it is all printed in this thick, glossy paper. This is what the Flying Fortress looks like. That is beautiful. And you all know I love my art books, so that's why I had to pick this particular book up. That is awesome. And towards the very back, those are the storyboards, is Building the World of Tomorrow, which will show the actors right there, the directors, and promotional artwork for posters that happened after the movie was done. And there's Kevin Conran. So this is 20 years pretty much worth of art of his for the Sky Captain world. Next up, from Magnetic Press, you know their books stand out because of these curved corners there. But this is Adrastea, Matthew Bablé. Look at that. You all know I love me some maps. And every book I always point out the fact when they put out a map. Might be the fact that I come from a world of video games, and overhead maps in video games are the way that I see the world. But I just love them. And wait, they're actual maps before video games were around. Maps were a real thing. It's not what I meant to say. Man, I've always been a big fan of maps. I love looking. We used to have a globe when I was a kid, and I loved looking at the different countries and how big each of the countries really were compared to the way we see them in our head. But it's all written and drawn by Matthew Bablé, who I've done. Maybe it wasn't a hidden gem. Maybe I need to introduce his work to a lot of people. So this is stuff that's been translated from Europe. He has a very distinct style, making sure that this is all okay to show. Some of the stuff has, you know, nudity or violence, so I got to be careful what I'm showing here. But this is what the art looks like. Yep, there were harpies. Harpies love to go topless, so I had to skip some pages. There we go. I want to see this big creature. Look at that architecture. Look at the angles. Look at the amount of detail. That is beautiful. Big fan of his art. Like I said, to me, I think he has a very cartoony, realistic style, if that makes sense. And these books are oversized, so they are wonderful additions to your library. I think somebody wanted me to do my top 10 favorite Magnetic Press books. I'm making sure that's okay to show. Just a little bit of blood covering up the important bits there. Look at that. That is awesome. So I don't know what this is. I love going into these books completely blind, not knowing what the plot is. The texture on the cover, though, is really nice. It almost feels like a faux leather, but it's not. That is, yeah, like an old vinyl. Scratching that vinyl. But it doesn't, it's on a vinyl. The book retails for $29.99. I want to say there was a Kickstarter version of this particular book. And speaking of Kickstarter, my buddy Kyle sent me a copy of this book. This is the Pacific Rim Ultimate Omnibus. We've bonded over how much we love kaiju and the Pacific Rim movies. I even like the second one. I didn't think it was as bad as people made it out to be. I just love big giant robots. What were they called in the movies? Jaegers. Fighting giant kaiju, giant monsters, if you're not familiar with. I mean, my love for that stuff goes all the way back to Ultra 7. That's right, that's what I grew up with in Peru. Not Ultraman, not Godzilla, but Ultra 7. The spin-off of Ultraman. But these are comics that are based on the world of Pacific Rim. Some of these take place before Pacific Rim #1. Some of them take place during Pacific Rim 2. Here are all the creators that worked on this particular book, including Joshua Fialkov and Chris Batista, Sean Chen, just to name a few of the people that worked on this particular book. This does say Kickstarter Collector Edition, distributed by Rocket Ship, but I think even the standard editions come with that little stamp right there that this is a Kickstarter. It is a big book. There's the Jaeger. And this, I believe, is Sean Chen's artwork. But let's look at some of these action sequences. I haven't gotten a chance to read this one. One thing I did notice about this, though, immediately, is the 2 ribbons. I haven't seen that in a comic. I've seen them in books, and they always kind of aggravated me whenever they gave me 2 ribbons. Like, what do I need 2 for? Like, one to put where I am and one to put where my wife is going to be. I guess if you're sharing a book, it kind of makes sense. But it is interesting that they gave you 2 ribbons with this. And it is the color scheme of the black and yellow right there. So, pretty cool. Now, that wasn't the only thing that you got through the Kickstarter. There were a couple of other things that all came in this manila envelope. So, there's the Jaeger Power poster right here. And it is a thick poster. But it's not the only one. There's another one right there. I believe that's Alex Ross. I mean, his art always stands out. And a couple of other things. I'm going to look at some more of this artwork because I do want to show. You have some pins right there, as well as this one right here, the Gypsy Dancer. But let's go back to this book because you do get a variety of different art styles in here, from something that looks realistic to there are some cartoony art styles to painted art styles in here. And all featuring these giant robots, the Jaegers, fighting these giant kaiju monsters. So, I can't wait to dive into this book. Hey, I think there was a character from the second movie there that I thought died. So I assume maybe that takes place before it. So yeah, some of the stories I do know take place before the movies, that set up the movies. And even the Netflix series, I believe. It helps set up the Netflix series. It helps it's like a prelude. And then some of them take place during and after. This art is freaking awesome. Look at the detail on the kaiju. Has a very anime look to style, but there's a big amount of detail on the backgrounds and the giant monsters and robots. I dig this. This story right here, Amada, it's by Kevin Scott and Zhang Ran, and Bing is the artist. Dude, that is wicked. I like that a lot. That's the thing that I liked about this when I was flipping through it. It's the different art styles that are shown throughout this particular book. In the back are some variant covers, and the extras are broken up into the 5 different books that are collected in here. So there's 5 different sections, and they're all different colors. So the sketches for this is Pacific Rim, Tales from the Drift. It's a variant cover for that particular miniseries. And then we move on to the yellow right here, which is the Aftermath. Again, there's sketches for the Aftermath story. And as I mentioned, they're all different colors, depending on which series. There's the Amara series, which I really like that. So, as far as the book itself, it is sewn binding. Not much of an eye right there, but I didn't have an issue when I was flipping through here with the book laying over. Of course, we're looking at the middle right now of the book. Towards the front of the book right there. I'll make sure. Yeah, here we go. And then towards the back of the book. The book retails for $100, whether that's the Kickstarter version if you're going to go for it, or if you want to buy it through one of our sponsors, cheapgraphicnovels.com or Walt's Comic Shop, or even try to find it on Amazon. But that is what the retail price of this particular Ultimate Omnibus Edition is. And it is from Legendary Comics. From my buddy Psycho Cleveland, he gave me a bunch of independent comics right here. He loves indie comics, and he was trying to get me to start pushing more and more for indie comics. He was very happy that I was showcasing, let me make sure this is okay to show, the Fantagraphics books, but he himself loves underground comics and has been a big pusher of it. He sent a lot of stuff my way. I'll be honest, I've not heard a single thing about any of these books. I am excited to read them. Some of my favorite comics are independent comics. I love this one right here. This is Muscle Horse. Nate Garcia's Muscle Horse. Just the artwork and the way that the book feels is really nice. Gotta be careful showing this stuff, because even though sometimes it looks like innocent kids comics, hell no, they're not. Sometimes they're very mature or very graphic, if you will. But that one looks interesting. He gave me this newspaper right here. This is Smoke Signal. It's like printed on newsprint, like newspaper print. It's Desert Island. So when I got this, I didn't know exactly what it was. And I opened it up during my Saturday stream. And on my Saturday stream, it's live. So I got to look through it and make sure I can show it. Or if not, there is no editing. Well, I guess I could cut it off later. But this is what the artwork... This is interesting. Now, there is another book he got me. This one right here. And this one is going to be hard to show. But this is Dynamite Diva. This is the only one I had heard of the books that he sent my way. This is not for kids, as it specifies right there. Dynamite Diva, One-Eyed Wild Ride. Make sure I can even show. Yes, I can. This is a big book. $25. The only one that he sent in that stack that I was familiar with the name, or I have heard the name. I'm not familiar with the character at all. I have not read any of her stuff. This is Dynamite Diva, Down on Beat Street. First killer issue. Looks like a Jim Steranko cover. And let's see here, make sure. Okay, here's Chester Gould, dedicated to him. It's Dick Tracy. And Jim Steranko. That's awesome. This is by Jasper Jubenville. So, that's an awesome picture. He's got a Dick Tracy shirt on. But this is Dynamite Diva. Let me know in the comments, unless you're Psycho Cleveland, you've already read this stuff, if you've read this and what you think of this particular series. This artwork is nuts. I love it. Definitely has an underground comics feel to it. Look at that. That is great. I like this golden age look to that. Oh, the whole issue looks like it's kind of got a golden age feel to it. Spoke too soon. I was flipping through here and I'm like, so far I don't see anything that requires this to be mature reading, and definitely not for kids. Never mind, there are some extreme pages in here. But that is Dynamite Diva. Now, one of my viewers was kind enough to send us a copy of Doctor Strange. This is for a giveaway. We do have a giveaway coming up. Sometime in September, we'll be celebrating our 70,000 subscriber giveaway. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and like the video. But yes, this is one of the giveaways we'll be having. Now, I've done an overview of Ice Cream Man already on the channel. One of my favorite horror anthologies. This is the Sunday edition. This is a deluxe hardcover edition. It is awesome, especially if you like scary horror books. This is one not to miss out on. And then I did an overview of Batman Deluxe Edition Book 6. Actually, I gave my thoughts on the whole book. I think I went into spoilers. I can't remember if I did or not. It was an interesting read. And I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought for somebody that really didn't dig Tom King from the get-go. But I did hear that the Bat and the Cat was not in continuity. What the hell? Now, this one also came from my buddy Kyle. This is part of the Kyle Pile, Atomica. I have been wanting to read this for such a long time. Mainly because I kept seeing it in the previews, and it's got these beautiful... That cover right there. Alex Ross covers. I did get a chance to actually pry it open, and this is, by the way, by Mercury Comics. I believe this is the Kickstarter of this. Well, it has to be because all these amazing things came with it. And I mean all these amazing things. There are cards here. Here, let me just... This is cool. But this right here, it has cards, artwork, but not just Alex Ross. Yes, I'm weird. I actually open these things. I don't know if people keep them intact. It's like books, right? They're supposed to be open. But this is Michael Turner right there. That is freaking beautiful. Or David Mack. And this is Bill Sienkiewicz and Alex Ross. So these are the little 4 trading cards that come with the Kickstarter. And that's not all. There's also Sal Abbinanti's The Hostage Sketchbook. And he is the creator of Atomica. And this is, wow, this sketchbook is crazy. I believe The Hostage was his other book that he had kickstarted. But there's also this right here. And this is a print and a comic, as well as more trading cards. Here, let's look at this. And bookmarks. Yeah, man, Kyle went all out. Let's look at the comic, though. And here's what... Sorry, it's a postcard. But here's the bookmarks and some more cards. And this is the Atomica sketchbook. So let's just look at a couple of pictures from here. Wow, that is nuts. Yeah, this is what I wanted to see. Some black and white artwork. Nice. Beautiful. This is a book that I did open. And right here, it's signed by Sal right there, who is the creator, like I mentioned. There's a preface, and then the chapter breaks right here. So it's a total of 12 chapters, and then a gallery edition. And this was originally published in comic book format, so in comics like this, like floppies. There were a total of 12 issues. The Origin of Atomica. All, like I said, created by Sal Abbinanti. Now, what's interesting, here, let's put this stuff up so you can see the book about Sal Abbinanti, is that before I knew he was a comic book creator, I knew that he was the handler for Alex Ross and Bill Sienkiewicz, like the person that I talked to when I would go to conventions. I had no idea that he had been working on his own comic. So that's how, you know, he's friends with Alex Ross, hence the covers, and he's friends with Bill Sienkiewicz, hence the variant covers. Now, from just the few pages that I read about this, and I can't flip too much through here because I haven't finished reading it. Haven't even finished reading the first chapter. But this is all a story that takes place in Russia at the turn of the century. So we're talking like the early 1900s. And it seems like they are reaching that level of science and magic, like this amalgam level of science and magic, that they're able to create their own gods. So it's like God created man, and now man is recreating God or creating God. And that's where the character of Atomica comes from. This one does come with a ribbon as well. But this is what the art looks like, and that's all I know about the story from the pages that I've read. I don't know, you know, if Atomica is going to turn out to be a good superhero, a god, or a villain. But let me know if you've read this, what you thought of this run, without going into spoilers, of course, because I do want to read it for myself. But the artwork looks intense. It looks amazing. Holy crap. Yeah, I you know, everybody looks super muscular, but that's because we are talking about gods here, or superhero, rather. That is freaking awesome. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Matrix. And yeah, a lot of the design reminds me, of course, of what Johnson did on the covers of Superman Red Sun. But this looks awesome. And I'll be honest, I did not know there was a Kickstarter for this until I got it from my buddy Kyle. So big thank you to Kyle. And ribbon. That's a plus. Next up is a book from a company that's gotten my attention a lot lately. And this is Ghost 111 or 111. This is a European company that has been bringing books over here to America. And this book was supposed to be released, I want to say back in May, but everybody has delays, as you all probably know. The story is by Mark Iserzal, Henry Scala, and Marion Mouse. I don't know what this is about either, but I dug that cover. And this is a Blaze Studios, is the publisher that put this one out. I just got this in the mail a couple of weeks ago. I think it came out last month, but no, this was due out in March. So there have been a lot of delays. It looks like a police story with some adult themes just from flipping through here. So maybe it's not for everybody, but oh my gosh, I love this artwork. Definitely has a cartoony Tim Sellish, Brian Azzarello. I'm sorry, Eduardo Rizzo, Brian Azzarello is the writer. I always think of both of them together in 100 Bullets. With the contrast in black and white, so the light and the dark. It's really nice. I like that. But it has more of a cartoony feel than Eduardo Rizzo or Tim Sells' art style. I dig it. But this is Ghost 111 by Blaze, and it is $24.99. It is rated mature, so for the people that are wondering. Police stories, I don't think many of them are rated PG or G, but it is a standard size hardcover. And this book came in the mail with Ghost, and this is Daryl, Open World. This is another book by Magnetic Press. Again, the round corners there. Written by Remy Guiden. Yay! Based on the universe created by Oliver Peru. I could read it as Peru or Peru, carajo, but I don't think that's the way he would pronounce it. And it's illustrated by Crystal. So a world... What is the world? Again, Daryl Open World. Is it a video game? Holy crap, this art is awesome. What I love about these European books, man. Some of them have the most beautiful art styles. Look at that. Look at the city. Look at the background. And I understand, cartoonish art is not for everybody. Some people like more traditional art. Some people prefer the Western art style. Some people prefer manga. Some people like abstract. Some people like that indie look, like Dynamite Diva. But me, I like it all. I'm a big fan of just different art styles. So, to me, surprise me. Sometimes I realize that the stories carry the art, and sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes the art really helps me get through a comic because it's what helps me go through the boring story, if you will. And it's what makes graphic novels so unique, right? You can't really do that with a prose. Like, if a novel is really boring, you can't force yourself to finish reading it. Although I have friends that do that. They're like, no, I started the novel. I'm going to go ahead and finish it. I've never not finished a novel. And that's what makes graphic novels so beautiful, is that you have that option of, okay, the story's a little slow, but oh my gosh, this artwork is to die for. Or, this artwork sucks, but the story is so intriguing, I have to find out what happens next. That's why I love comics, and I love this format. So this one is printed by Magnetic Press. Let's see if there's extras. Usually, yeah, I have a couple of extras in the back. So this is the production sketchbook back here. And then some bio on the creators. Last but not least, from one of my viewers' new Spooey channel, it has come to my attention that the NMC library does not contain this omnibus featuring Big Hero 6 in oversized format. Thus, I bequeath this copy to Omar, Melanie, and family. I love that it's the whole family that gets this. The rest, feel free to keep any or pass along for the next giveaway. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. For some reason on my Saturday live stream, we were talking about Chris Claremont and we were talking about Big Hero 6, and I made mention, I'm like, I'm really surprised they never gave us a Big Hero 6 Deluxe Edition, because it became a movie. I know there was like a little small graphic novel, and it definitely has the feel of the manga, but because of the popularity, I thought they would give us something huge. So this collects stories by Chris Claremont, just from here and there. War is Hell. Hey, I remember those books right there. That was part of the War and Romance comic, or the Omnibus that came out. I read some of those. And it's all about a guy that died in war. Then we have some stories from, so that's 1974, 1975, 1976, all the way to 2009, which ends with Big Hero 6. There's an introduction here by Chris Claremont in Paris, France. It's not where he lives. He must have been visiting. But here we have War is Hell. So there's some stories in here that have never been printed in omnibus format or in hardcover format. So that's why he decided to give it to me. He knows how much of a fan I am of Chris Claremont. And awesome. I don't think I've read these last few issues. This must be the Black Goliath issue right here, issue number 2. Atomic Death. So he's teamed up with... As a matter of fact, I was going to say he's teamed up with different artists. Like here you see the different artists. You know, you have Gene Colan and Salvador La Roca, just to name a few. I think that's Mike Zeck right there from Secret Wars. No, that could have been Secret Wars. That's got to be John Bogdanove, because that looks like the cover to Fantastic Four X-Men. But anyway, so you do get like a small sampler of what his writing was like in chronological order in the way that the stories came out. Now, this is interesting because this is Captain Britain, but this right here had not been released in Omnibus format until the latest Captain Britain Omnibus. Because the original Captain Britain Omnibus just had Captain Britain by Alan Moore. So this is what the art looks like there. It's got a lot of his older stories in there. This is Man-Thing, of course. After he took over Steve Gerber's wonderful run on Man-Thing. We do have his Doctor Strange. These things, again, not in Omnibus format, because this would be in Doctor Strange Volume 3, whenever we get that Omnibus. We got a Volume 2 at the beginning of this year, so hopefully one day these particular books right here will be collected in Omnibus format as part of, like, Volume 3. So, like, the Steve Englehart run, Roger Stern, and of course Chris Claremont. Look at this beautiful artwork though by Gene Colan. That's so awesome. Now, I've said on my channel before, I'm not the biggest fan of anthologies like this. There's a John Byrne anthology omnibus, but that's also the only place you can get the most intact Iron Fist run in omnibus format. Damn it. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm debating it now. Now I kind of want it. And so this was really sweet that this was sent my way. So big thank you again. It is from Fantastic Four. Yeah, there it is. Right? That's what they used for the cover? I failed. I said it was Mike Zeck at first. But then again, I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, wait, he didn't write Secret Wars. So it's really cool that this mini's in here. I guess this showcases how great his X-Men run was and how great of a writer he is handling other characters from the Marvel Universe. Very nice. I love that story. I love the X-Men versus the Fantastic Four. It's the aftermath, of course, of what happens with Kitty Pryde after the Mutant Massacre. Here is one that I don't think I have this one in trade paperback. This is the Contest of Champions 2, Hero versus Hero. And it's that Psylocke versus Iron Man. It's an interesting fight. This is before AVX. And here's issue number 4. Man, they have the entirety of Contents of Champions 2 in here. Sweet. This is what somebody was asking me, why Marvel didn't add this to the Contest of Champions Gallery Edition. And I'll be honest, I don't know why. Maybe the story's not beloved as the first one. This right here, of course, is the miniseries Mechanics. No, this is the setup to Mechanics. So this is from X-Men Unlimited right here. I love this story. It's by Salvador La Roca doing the artwork, who of course did the artwork for Extreme X-Men. So this is during the time of Extreme X-Men, when Kitty Pryde had walked away from the X-Men. After the death of one of the characters, she felt like she was so disconnected from them that she wanted her own life. So she asked Professor Xavier to delete her file so he could never find her again. Of course, that's never the case with the X-Men. Once an X-Men, always an X-Men. So that kicks off the Chris Claremont and I believe it's Bobillo, Juan Bobillo that does the artwork, not the covers. So this was in the middle of Extreme X-Men, and this was Claremont's way of bringing Kitty Pryde, not just Kitty Pryde, but also Sean, the New Mutant, is also in this series. So this is his way of bringing the character back, and then eventually joining the Extreme X-Men, and then, of course, bringing her back to Uncanny when he came back the third time. This was the third time writing Uncanny X-Men, and this, right here, is Big Hero 6. So this is what the movie's based on. So Baymax and Hero all come from this particular miniseries. All written by Chris Claremont. So very cool that this is all in here. David Nakayama supplying the artwork. And this was at the time when books like Sentinel were being published, or books like Runaways were being published. So a lot of books that were heavily influenced, of course, by manga and anime. So I'm surprised this wasn't a huge seller and it didn't get talked about as much as it should have. I thought it was a fun series. Very unlike Chris Claremont, too, in the way that he wrote these kids. It was a lot different than his stuff on X-Men. All the way in the back are some extras right here, like a cover with the interview with Chris Claremont, the trade paperbacks, Contest of Champions, cover art. Guess I don't have to track that down. Why didn't I own that before? The Big Hero 6 sketchbook. Variant covers are all back here. So, again, big thank you to New Spooey Channel. This was a nice surprise. Very awesome. And happily added to my library. Now, where do I put it? Do I put it under Chris, or I put it under Claremont, or do I put it under Marvel? But that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing any of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you live in Europe and are interested in buying and pre-ordering Omnis, then you should definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices for Marvel and DC books within the EU, flat shipping rates of €11.90 for all EU countries, great customer service with sturdy packaging and emails answered within 24 hours. They also offer a superb selection of new titles and out-of-print books. Just head over to waltscomicshop.com for more great deals and rare titles. For a limited time, you can use the code NEARMINTCONDITION, all one word, at checkout and get a €10 voucher for your first order over €40. Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for Omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ting!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was my haul for the month of July. Let me know in the comments down below what you ended up getting, what your favorite thing you bought was, what your favorite thing you read was. I would love to know all those comments down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.